Arshi Siddiqui, Democratic strategist and founder and CEO of Bellwether Government Affairs, alongside Republican strategist Annalise Keller, partner at 7 Letter. Welcome to you both, and we do have much more we want to discuss with you. But on this idea around Anthropic and the DOD, we have seen Democratic senators mostly, Arshi, talking about how this is effectively, in the words of Raphael Warnock, the Democratic senator from Georgia, the Pentagon trying to blackmail a private company. I wonder if you see it that way and what example you think it sets if Anthropic does not acquiesce.
Well, I think it's leadership on Anthropic's part, in the sense that we're in uncharted waters. This technology is still developing. And had Anthropic not taken the stance, it would have been a race to the bottom. Because this isn't just about Anthropic. This is about other companies as well, where they might be then forced to this race to the bottom, where everybody is trying to get this DOD work and not having any sort of guardrail. So from my perspective, I think Democrats are going to see this as true leadership.
Annalise, what's going on here? Anthropic says it'll help the DOD if it chooses to use another provider. Should it expect to have its technology unplugged, essentially, from servers at the DOD and beyond? Because if it is deemed a supply chain risk, every company from Boeing to Lockheed is going to have to eliminate all technology from this company.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a response yet from the DOD, so I think it's a little bit too early to say whether or not Anthropic will, not be going forward with the DOD. But certainly that's the way that it looks right now. They're clearly making a stand that they're not comfortable with the DOD's seeming, not giving enough safeguards around some of this surveillance issue that they're very concerned about. So, I think we'll have to wait to see how the DOD responds. But typically with Hegseth, I would expect a lot of sharp elbows in response. That's typically how they play these types of things. I think we'll all just sort of be watching to see how Hegseth and the DOD respond to see how this goes forward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we have this piece of breaking news we're dealing with this evening, but I want to bring another piece of breaking news to our audience here on Bloomberg TV and radio pertaining to the saga we're seeing between Netflix, Paramount, and the assets Warner Brothers Discovery. Netflix is declining to raise its offer for Warner Brothers, which, of course, had declared Paramount's offer the superior deal. Netflix said a deal with Warner Brothers Discovery would have created holder value, but is no longer financially attractive. We are seeing a market reaction to this in the post-market. Netflix shares soaring about 10%. Paramount Skydance is getting a bid as well, up about 4%. It's worth noting that the Netflix co-CEO, Ted Sarandos, was just at the White House this afternoon, and now Netflix is taking this position, making me wonder what exactly was the conversation inside the White House. And Arshi, this also comes after David Ellison was a guest of Senator Lindsey Graham at the State of the Union on Tuesday. Usually this would be a story we focus on from a business perspective, but it actually has become quite a political one as well.
Absolutely. And there have been a lot of twists and turns, and I wouldn't foreclose a few more. So I think this is something that's going to continue to develop. It's, I think, quintessential Trump in terms of keeping everybody guessing and trying to see where this goes.
Boy, Annalise, what do you think of this, to the point that Kayleigh is making? You've got Ellison in the front row at the State of the Union, Sarandos in the Oval Office today. Was this Donald Trump's decision? And if it wasn't, do these companies need to make that clear?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's Donald Trump's direct decision, but I think Arshi's right. He does like to involve himself in these things in, a very loud way. And I do think it would be beneficial for, CEOs and companies to clarify, how they're talking about this with the administration and with lawmakers and make that distinction clear. I do think that's important.
Yeah, and Joe, it's remarkable to consider this because obviously we are having a much wider conversation actively in this country right now about the administration and various regulators that are part of this administration, including, for example, the FCC and its relationship specifically with media. And yes, we're talking about a massive archive of movies and various shows as well, but there is a media element as well here, which is something that when we're thinking about from a journalistic standpoint could have major consequences.
You talk about CNN, Kayleigh. It's a big one. The president was asked about it in the Oval Office just a couple of weeks ago. And again, on Air Force One, remember what he said? It should be sold. He wants it to have a new ownership. And when you consider the potential ball and chain that this could have been for Netflix, and I know that there's a big argument in the media world about what that would mean for the company. Netflix is flying right now. It's up 12% in almost a relief rally, knowing that the company won't have to endure this.
Yeah, we are seeing definitely a massive move after hours. Right now, Netflix is up about 10 percentage points, but I would imagine this is going to be a big narrative when we begin the trading day tomorrow. I would note, as we continue to contend with this breaking news here, which again is that Netflix is not raising its offer for Warner Brothers Discoveries. It seems that they no longer think this deal is attractive. Ted Sarandos, the Netflix co-CEO, was not the only person who was at the White House today meeting with President Trump. We also saw the mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, there, someone who President Trump on Tuesday called a communist. How are these two still so buddy-buddy, Arshi? I'm a little confused. Is this a good look for Mamdani?
I think in many ways they understand each other, and they're two sides of the same coin, and so it's an interesting dynamic because we saw it earlier, and we saw a very similar shot on this meeting too. Also, New York and the federal government, there is a very big nexus point there, so they do have to work together. So I think in this day and age, communication is always good, and we see more and more there's less communications between the two parties. So I think from that perspective, it's a very positive piece.
I want to talk about tech.